Welcome back. We are talking about our this is our buyer series, and today we're talking about prepping for closing and closing day.
Okay, and as a reminder, I'm Kathy Zalewski.
And I'm Kaila Henry.
And we're both realtors with Realty One Group Peak in Bozeman, Montana. So like Kaila said, today is a little bit about kind of the final step and closing day. So what we like our buyers to do in preparation for becoming homeowners. Maybe for the first time, maybe again, but still a good reminder of all the little things that we need to take care of prior to moving into our home.
Yeah, and so kind of where we're at in the process, I think, is we're through the inspections and, hopefully title contingency is cleared, appraisal's looking good. Your loan might still not be fully approved, but everything's looking good and you're heading on track. So, about a week beforehand, I like to, number one, get a closing scheduled for my clients. Occasionally I'll do this about 2 weeks out if it's feeling really busy or my clients have a really tight schedule. And then part of that email I send will have a utilities list of utility providers. And I also like to look up what utilities are associated with the house. So if you live in the city of Bozeman, obviously the number for city of Bozeman, that'll take care of your water and sewer hookups.
And usually trash.
Usually trash as well. You
Recycling.
and you can sometimes use Republic if you want, so It can be up to you. I personally just like to bundle it. That I didn't think when I shopped prices it was any different, but that was a while ago. But it is up to you. So I try and look up those things, or sometimes asking the seller about what utility providers they use at the house and what they have going on there.
And so, City of Bozeman's kind of easy because it is all kind of together. Four Corners has its own water and sewer system. And I have heard that they kind of require you to be there in person if you want to set up your billing and so forth. So something to think about. You might need to do that a little bit in advance. Republic and L&L are the major trash providers. And then, of course, in terms of your internet and your cable TV or whatever, everybody's kind of aware of the hundreds of choices that there are.
Yeah, personal choice to me. Let's see.
So definitely utilities, and then we made a list just to make sure. Then I think one thing you might want to also do kind of in advance is maybe set up an appointment with somebody that will help you change your locks.
Yeah, I think getting your locks changed, change of address, and just kind of starting to prepare yourself. Obviously, if you move, have your moving plan scheduled, or whatever you need.
Movers, if you need labor to help you move.
Maybe providing notice on a current lease that you have right now. That's something once you're through inspections, and that to me is often a good time that you really feel very confident that you're moving forward.
Absolutely.
And then I think that pretty much brings us right up to the closing date.
Right.
So what does closing date looks like? And, your lender, sometimes if your lender's local, often they'll join you at the closing table.
Yep.
And again, your realtor schedule the time, so they'll be there as well. Or at least I like to join for closings. We're kind of just, I don't know, I say we're just window treatments for I don't do anything for closing. Moral
there to
support.
Hold your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do like to be there just to make sure everybody's come full circle.
Right. It's exciting. And if something doesn't sound right, you should always feel free to kind of say, whoa, I don't understand this or that or the other thing. But hopefully your lender has gone through all those documents with you. You will have had a chance to, not all of them because it's kind of a stack, but you will have had a chance to, so the numbers should all look like what you're expecting. There shouldn't be any surprises.
I usually say at the closing table, you're not changing anything. And again, hopefully all of those numbers look familiar to you.
Right.
Your interest rate, your payment, your cash to close, all of those things should be pretty crystal clear and numbers that you're familiar with at that point.
Absolutely.
You're just signing.
Right.
But again, should always say something if you're not feeling right about it.
Yeah.
The other thing I like to do, and I know you do one as well, Kathy, is we like to do a final walkthrough just before closing. So as your realtor, we go over to the house, or again, some realtors do, not all, but we go over to the house prior to and just make sure everything is as we expect it to be. So mostly I'm looking to see, did a hot water heater burst, or hot water tank burst over, the last few days. Just want to make sure that the house is tidy for you and ready to go.
Yeah. Or did the seller accidentally throw their couch through the wall while they were moving?
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be the end of the world, but we do want to see those things before we sign the papers and accept the property as is. Like, you do have the option to say, hey, well, we want compensation for this, that, or the other thing. Or generally speaking, and this is something to be aware of as a buyer, industry standard and according to the contract is that the home has to be broom swept.
Broom swept clean.
Yeah. That does not mean, though, like your mom would do it, or like they paid somebody to do it. If you want it to be like they paid somebody to do it, you write that into the offer. Just be aware of that.
Or hire your own cleaning service. I mean, that to me is something I just would want to control that myself as a buyer. And so again, maybe I'm not moving in that very first day, but I do have a cleaner lined up to go in and buff it out for me.
Right. And unfortunately, that is probably, I would say that is usually what is, if there's a disappointment on closing day, it's the buyer not being happy with how clean the house is. Yeah. So you might want to even just kind of plan to maybe have a cleaner come.
It's just, again, just so that there's no disappointment. So that's something I always like to talk with my clients about is, how clean do you like things to be? And then really making sure that understanding is broom swept. To me, that leaves a very wide interpretation of how clean things are. So I'm a clean freak. I know I would just want a very, very clean space to move into. And so again, something I just would rather control than leave it up to somebody else to handle.
Absolutely.
So kind of a couple things to do before your closing date, but getting back to the closing date.
Right.
You will sign documents, and then something to keep in mind, you will not get keys, or most often won't get keys right at the closing table then, nor will you have access to the home. A couple things need to happen before you do get access on the closing date. So,
right. So when you, first of all, and I know Kaila believes this too, schedule your time for signing. If for some reason you can sign the day before, even better, but as early in the morning as possible. When you go to the signing, make sure that you have a valid ID, because there will be a notary there to make sure that you are who you are. I think the other thing to remember also for day of close is that there are going to be funds required of you, even if you're paying cash, right? Those funds were probably or should have been wired maybe a couple days in advance. If you're closing on a Tuesday, I would have wired them on a Friday. If you're closing on a Thursday, I would have wired them Monday, just so that they're already at the title company. There's no glitch going to happen or anything like that. While a certified check is okay, it is not recommended.
Cashier's check.
Right.
Yeah.
Certified bank funds is what the term that is used by the title company. But wiring it is the best. And
wire fraud. It brings us to wire fraud. So wire fraud is absolutely a thing in Montana and in Bozeman. I've never personally had a deal affected by it, but I have been in an office where it has been affected, and I've certainly heard stories of it. So even in our somewhat small community, it has been a thing here. So we always are recommending that people call the title company. You should have their contact number, and if you don't, ask your agent. Call the title company before you send funds. Once a wire transfer is sent, the money is gone. It is sent. You cannot get it back. You can't backtrack it. So to me, it's very much worth a phone call. I know I've had some clients be like, well, this is annoying. It is. I get it. But you're wiring sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you just...
Honestly, if it were me and it was my $100,000, I would probably go to the title company in person with my bank account on my check or whatever, but do everything right there in front of them.
It just doesn't hurt to double check ever. And so that'll be our 2 cents. We have it in our email signatures often. It is a thing. So please take it seriously and know that, again, all of this is in an attempt to help protect you. Fraudsters have gotten very good at intercepting emails and hacking things. I wish it wasn't the case, but it is. So again, the steps you can do is just to make that phone call, go in person, and always ask your agent if something feels off. So getting the money there, that will be part of it. So you'll need, again,
and in advance. It's not a good idea to say, oh, well, I'll just go in there and they'll just wire it right then, because even wires are not instantaneous. So please do plan ahead for that. Generally, your lender and your agent are going to tell you that in advance as well. So
once you have those things, you'll sign all the documents. The escrow officer will go over them, just to make sure that you do fully understand it. And then we kind of have to wait a little bit. So we'll all leave the title company. And what happens is then our closing officer takes those signed documents. They go back through, they just review them. They will then upload them or share them with the lender again. The lender will also review the documents. And I believe while the lender is reviewing the documents, the title company is also then going to the courthouse and doing a final search just to make sure there's no last minute liens that have been put on the home and that the title truly is free and clear for you to take ownership of it. So definitely some moving pieces that are going on in the background. And our whole point of this is just to say, again, access doesn't happen until we get the call that it has funded and recorded at the courthouse.
It's not over till it's over, which is why until your agent hands you the keys. The home is not yours. Don't quit your job. Don't buy a car. Don't go get a credit card at Ashley Furniture to buy new furniture.
We say that seriously because, again, have heard stories, never happened for myself anyways. I don't know if it's happened for you, Kathy, but
I have a story for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes your lender will still do a last minute call. You've signed the documents. You feel like everything's done. They might call your job one more time and say, hey, I really want to make sure that Kaila Henry still works here. Please verify. And if you've quit, they can't verify that. And
you don't have any income. Well,
yeah.
So I will tell quickly a silly story. So I did have a client back in Arizona, and he was very excited about his new home. In Arizona, sometimes lenders will send the documents in advance of close. So not day of, but maybe a day or two in advance of close. And so you could go and sign early. Well, so my buyer said, well, I signed. And I said, so you went, because the lender called me and said, we have a problem. He had gone, he really wanted to buy a new Traeger grill for his new house. Of course. And he could not wait another 48 hours to do that. So he went to Home Depot and got a Home Depot line of credit and bought a Traeger grill on it. So that line of credit probably only, maybe even $1,000. I mean, it doesn't matter, but if your debt to income ratio is tight, but you've taken out a new line of credit, a new line of unsecured debt,
and it's a big red flag,
right? The lender gets a little squirrely about that. We were able to recover and close. I think what he did was pay off that Traeger like immediately and then close the credit card right away.
Was that your closing gift for him, Kathy?
Here you go. Thanks for buying the house and not screwing it up. No, but it's not over till it's over. Just even because you signed, it doesn't mean that the house is yours. The lender can still pull the plug.
You're really, to me, waiting for that. We have funded and recorded. Those are the words I want to hear. The title company will usually send your agent an email. And then, of course, your agent should call you very quickly, knowing how excited you are.
Right.
Which is then, of course, when you will likely get keys. And then you can do whatever, the house is yours.
Right. So scary stuff over now. Just remember, don't quit your job. Don't buy a car. Don't sign for more credit for you or anybody else. Bring certified funds or wire in advance. Remember your ID.
Photo ID.
Yep.
That can't be expired.
Right.
Yeah.
That's another doozy. But so those are all the hard stuff. Now, once we call you and say, hey, it's funded and recorded, the house is yours, and we hand the keys to you, then it's time to start celebrating and kind of get settled in and do the things that homeownership is all about. And if this is your first home, usually we'll come up with a list. We'll hit some of those items right now, but just hand you a list and say, hey, you put dates on these things and just do them religiously over and over again.
I think we're going to talk about that in the next video. Is our first year of home ownership, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I think that kind of does it for our closing day.
Yes.
Unless there's anything else that we want to add. If you have any questions, again, tune in to our next video where we will go over kind of the first year of home ownership. And, we have a certain, there's a list that we will give you guys for maintenance things to be aware of, probably items to move into your name, and just kind of some of the things we've had, I guess, come up from chatting with clients over the years and owning homes ourselves. So,
right. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing is that everybody is trying to get you to the finish line. So you will be reminded of things like don't open a line of credit probably a dozen times.
It might feel annoying.
But we want to get you to the finish line, and we want to make sure that there's no surprises on that day of closing. So we're there to help you and to support you and to just make sure that things go well. So
yeah, everybody's on your team pulling for it to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's good.
The day will come quickly.
So our next video is the first year of home ownership. Please subscribe and like our channel so you can stay up to date on all these great things that we put out there for you. Thanks so much.
Thanks.